Today, we're going to talk about your best day, doing your best work today, and what that really means and the benefit you'll get from it. So, welcome. We talk about your best life, things I've discovered, things that people learn through experience, through hardship, through things that aren't go so well, but also just some really great stories that people have gifted me with and share that I get to bring here. So, let's talk about this. Doing your best work today. Your best work. So, are you on a team delivering a new product today? Maybe you're making breakfast and launching the kids off to school today. Or maybe you're alone and in your mind you're sketching and you're writing or you're reading today. Each of those moments deserves an intensity from us. It deserves our best self, if you will. And what does that really mean? And then how do we define it? So maybe we first should start from the end and go forward. Why do we care about putting in our best work? We care about putting our best work in we recognize that today is the only moment we have in this moment, right? The idea that this won't repeat, right? Tomorrow you might, yes, repeat. You might have breakfast, go to the same office, and work with the same people, and then come home. Or maybe you'll wake up today and your kids are here, and then tomorrow your kids are here, and you might be like, it's the same. There's no uniqueness to it, and that's a mirage. That's fake. Everything that you see today is its one and only time. So if you're working with a team and having an amazing vibe and you're just crushing it, you're working on a part that won't be around tomorrow. You'll be on a different part and you'll have a different intensity. Somebody will be there. Somebody won't be there. You'll be engaged. We'll all be in different moments in time. And so when you recognize that that moment is the only time that moment will ever happen, it becomes very powerful in what you choose to do in it. And this for parents, this is something that is very real and very hard to deal with because when they're babies, you're like, oh, well, we're sleeping a lot and I'm doing this and this is beautiful and wonderful. And then you're like, oh, I love reading to her. And then that changes. And then she's reading too. Or it's like, oh, we get to play Barbies and then you don't. And then you get to draw and then you don't. And you get to do different things. But all of those moments, if you lived them fullest, you did your best in that moment, then you should look back fondly and lovingly and proudly. Sure, you probably regret a moment here and a moment there where maybe you didn't do your best, where you feel like it could have been different and better. And those moments hurt. But the majority of the moments, if you give your best today, your best self today, not somebody else's version, your version of your best version of you, then you really get to enjoy the preciousness of life specifically. So, what do we mean by our best? How do we qualify this? Well, let's give it just two wide scales here, just a spectrum from A to B. So, there's all in, where you are literally 100% in for whatever you're doing, right? You're at work, you're fully deep diving in, you're studying the material, you're giving your best ideas, you're giving your most creativity, your most attention. And then when you're done, right? That's all in. Or when you're home with your beautiful daughter or your son and you're playing, right? You're in, you're not, flipping between phones and, oh, I'm trying to figure out what grocery shop we should be doing. Or no, you're in the moment. We're playing a game. We're in the moment. We're dancing. We're not thinking about the next thing. It's kind of like a conversation. If you're having a conversation with someone, you want them to listen to what you're telling them and then give them time to respond based on what you're saying. It's massively insulting and kind of depressing when you say, well, I had a really hard time at work today with XYZ, or I'm really struggling with this thing. And then they go, well, I've been dealing with XYZ and this is what I'm doing. And you're like, it's all about you now. What about me? We're having an exchange in a conversation and you just kind of railroaded by it. So same thing happens in real life, in physical, in interaction, and in our experiences, where we maybe just aren't all in. We're worse than all in. We're kind of skating by. And if you're skating by is on the far end of the spectrum here. And the reason it matters is because you are doing enough to get by, right? You're putting in just enough effort. You maybe you're with back to that team and you're collaborating, but you're not. You're holding back your best ideas. And maybe a month or two later be like, I was thinking that we shouldn't do this or we should do this differently. That's horrible. You're part of the team. If you thought that, you would have said that. The reason you didn't say it is because you were skating by. Much like parenting, right? If we are on the phone scrolling instead of being present, we might miss a beautiful moment. We might miss a call for help, an opportunity to train and instruct and be a part of a family. So skating by is incredibly bad because it not only disassociates you from whoever you're with, right? So you worsen the relationships, but more so, you miss, right? You'll look back at a week, a month, a year from that moment and recognize that, wow, I really missed it. I missed that moment in her life or in his life. And this isn't to say that, maybe you're home and you get an important work call or you're trying to do something for your hobby or your charity or your project, that you shouldn't jump in that too. You totally should do those things. But those moments should have beginning and ends, much like when you're with your child or your spouse or anything. There should be a beginning and an end. And it is that clarity, that distinctness, so that way you're not really missing it. You're creating separate moments. So it's very important to think about that. And I love your thoughts and comments on this because this is something that I personally have struggled with and have seen that this gives me an advantage. It gives me, grace in the long nights when I think about the struggles or think about, man, could I have done better for her? Could I have been more there, more present for her, for him? So it really, really helps. But why? Why does this really matter? It matters because today is really the only thing that exists. Today is the only thing that matters. There is this saying, I'm not sure if it's Bruce Lee or whatnot, but they talk about, if you stand in a river, it's a different river every day because the water rushes by. The water rises, it lowers, the life inside it changes and moves. So you're never in the same place, and that's like life, right? The river of time and life is moving, and so the only thing that matters is this day, only this moment. So you really want to give it all now. We don't plan to love our child tomorrow, or I will give my spouse love tomorrow, or I will work on my project or my health tomorrow. We do it today. And we do it today because today is all that matters. Because tomorrow, when it becomes today, there's always the next day. And you can always push. And if you start pushing things, you'll always push things. And so think about this. Think about the importance of today, the preciousness of today. And that will really help you unlock, in my mind, your energy, your ideas, your love, your leaps of brilliance that can only happen because it's your best effort. Think about that. When did you have your best ideas? Was it when you were involved in something and enjoying the exchange of ideas and collaborating, even if it's just you with a notebook at home alone? Are your best ideas going to happen in that mindset, or are they going to happen when we got a notebook out, but we're scrolling on our phone and we're petting the dog and we're kind of wondering what we should have for lunch? There's no opportunity for brilliance. There's no opportunity for us to be our best self. And honestly, when I think about my habits, I love the early mornings more and more because it allows me to go all in on my internal thinkings, my visioning, my training, doing things that help set up my family for success. But that can't happen if I sleep in and then I decide I'll do that later, or I'll half do it. No, I need to do it. I need to do it for me. I need to do it for my family, and I do it for everybody that I love. And that doesn't mean that there's not an immense of opportunity during the day later on, but it's different, right? It's blocking and tackling versus brilliance and creativity, and then putting in the work ahead of when we need it, so that when we need it, it's there, right? That preparation ensures we have it. So really, this is a message for hope. Knowing that this morning, this breakfast, this phone call with your parents is precious and it is needed for this moment, it's really freeing, right? Because you don't have to worry about the future doubts and the regrets of the past. All of those are gone if you literally look at right now and treat right now with the respect and love that it deserves. And all that is wanted, needed, and begged for, let's be honest, is for yourself and the world their best effort. And I say yourself and the world on purpose, right? Because the best effort in what we do is for ourselves. It has to do with us. Yes, we all want to make sure we're taking care of our family and taking care of the community and doing brilliant things. But if you are not taken care of, if you do not prioritize in this moment things that will make sure you have no regret, meaning that I'm gonna stay up and I'm gonna make sure the kids go to bed and that they feel loved, and I tuck them in, and I want to be up when they need to leave, and I want to make sure that they know that they are loved and they have what they need, and I'm going to keep my eyes open and I'm going to support them. But I'm also going to do that for my stuff, right? I'm going to make sure I get my plunges in, my training and my food in, right? So that I can be a great human. So for myself, for a very long time, and for those I love. So think about that. Think about how important today is to give your best work for yourself, whether you're sitting alone, you're with your kids, you're doing your work, or anything. Just give your best. Don't have any regrets. You'll be far happier. You'll have less concerns about, am I doing enough right now, or is this the right choice right now? It is the right choice. You've already made the choice. You're doing it, but do it well so that you don't look back and go, man, I just wasted that time. Why did you waste it? You only wasted it because you didn't give your best effort, right? You can go out to a place where it's lame, if we're talking about a party or an event or whatever, but you can make it great by engaging with certain people, by making it best for you, by taking the time and like transforming it. So challenge yourself to deal with the scenarios that jump up and giving your best work in those scenarios. So I hope this really helps you. Subscribe, add comments, share if anything I can do, write in the comments. Let's share. Let's make each other better. I hope you have an amazing day. And this really helped me, and I hope it helps you to be free of regrets and move forward with confidence.